All right. Well, hello, chat. What a interesting week, right? Many happenings. Apparently, the latest happening is that VPNs may be banned in the UK. So we got what? Uzbekistan, Iraq. I think no, even China allows VPNs. Yeah, Uzbekistan, Iraq, North Korea. North Korea bans them. And now the United Kingdom can join some of the most advanced and safe places on Earth with a VPN ban. They're still pondering whether or not they should ban VPNs. Well, Russia as well, right? So, like, Russia went, okay, well, we can't allow Britain and North Korea to be on the same list. We're going to add ourselves there as well, to water it down a little bit. Well, why are people shocked by this? I generally don't understand. I think like a lot of people have the boomer mentality. And the boomer mentality is that the government doesn't know how to use technology. They just don't get it. Now, I understand why you would think that way, because if you're from my generation, back then, yeah, like most adults had no idea how to use a computer. Like, we're not talking about the internet, but, like, if I got my mom to sit down and use a computer, like, she would legitimately not know how to do it. Like, she wouldn't know how to move the mouse. And so, when I was a kid, and by a kid I mean, like, 16, I remember, like, writing on your job resume that you know how to use Microsoft Word was actually something very sought after. Because a lot of people generally did it. Like, they didn't know how to start the computer. They didn't know how to turn off a computer. I remember my mom would just press the button, right? Like, they didn't know that you need to click start and shut down. And so, obviously, people thought that, well, the government doesn't understand technology because they generally didn't. But we're not in the 90s anymore. We're into 2025, right? And so now the government has experts. Like, they have the money to hire people that are good in the field. Most individuals believe that the government is incompetent. But the reality is it's not. The government is malicious. If you're looking at the government from the perspective of that they're trying to maintain power and they're trying to continue the grift of politicians and they're trying to protect their interests, then the government is doing an extremely well job. I mean, just look at Europe, right? Like, it's been a decade and the far right, the populists, are still out of power, right? Like, they're able to carry on the grift indefinitely. And so, like, no, their resources is allocated to the grift. It's not allocated to improve your life. It's not allocated to care about you. They're allocated to manipulate your opinion and to think that what they are doing is a good thing. And this is where someone in the chat also posted that tradcocks are enjoying this. Now, I don't call them tradcocks. I call them digital Christians. So digital Christians, in my opinion, is a term that I coined. And it applies to the people that do not believe, like, they do not know Christian theology. They do not know anything. They don't care about mysticism or rituals or the supernatural. They just care about sharing memes with Jesus and going after degenerates online, right? So it's kind of like social justice activists that don't actually care in empathy or equality or any of those things. Like, that's just like the window dressing, and their sole focus is to go online and destroy others. The digital Christians are kind of like that. Like, the purpose is still the same, like to go online and fuck with people. But, like, you need the justification to fuck with people. So it's like, oh, we're Christians. And so they're enjoying this. Now, the reason they're enjoying this, there may be like two possibilities. One of it is like they don't understand how bad it is. Like, they're in America. They just don't see the news getting censored. They don't understand how it's like to dox yourself when wanting to go on Reddit or wanting to go on 4chan and you find out that the website is banned to you, right? Like, they don't get that. And so what they do is thinking that it's a good thing because it's against porn. But they don't care that, well, teenagers already found a way around it. Like, they're using Fortnite characters to bypass this shit, right? And so that may be one of the reasons. The other reason is that it's a psyop. Like, I haven't heard the idea of banning porn off the internet ever. Like, this is a new concept. I did hear, like, people not liking one website or another or being against one fetish or another. But, like, the idea of, like, removing pornography from the internet, like, is unthinkable. I've never heard it until last year. And then all of a sudden you have, like, all these nations, like 3 different continents, passing legislation to suppress the internet. And you notice that the legislation is not just about pornography, but it's tied in with hate speech and pretty much like any anti-establishment opinion. And so, yeah, like these people are absolutely useful idiots. 100%. Online safety for children. Meanwhile, real life grooming gangs. Well, yeah, like that's the thing, you know, like the safety online is higher, but like the dangers of outside is also higher. Like, how does that work? Wonder how many peoples will get around the VPN ban. I don't know, like so far they're trying to use Cloudflare, like they're asking Cloudflare to ban it, and they also want to pass a law to make it illegal. Now, if they pass a law to make it illegal, I mean, there will still be people using it, I suppose, but it's good. Like they're not interested in getting 100% compliance. As long as they're getting 80 or 70%, they're happy. And again, like it depends how the law works. Like if the law attacks the company, like it attacks the VPN provider, like if we have clients from Britain using your service, you get like 10% fine of your global turnout rating. Then yeah, like VPN companies will just stop doing business with Britain, and they'll be like, well, we can't do business with you. Anyway, we had an entire department for educating senators and representatives in the new technology. It was established in the 70s and killed in 95. And now we have senators that barely understand email. Well, to be fair, America does have a lot, and I mean a lot of old senators, right? Like most of the world doesn't have that. I mean, look at Britain, right? Very rarely do you see someone of the age of Nancy Pelosi. Like, Nancy Pelosi is so fucking old that there are pictures of her in black and white because people didn't have a colorful camera to take them there, you know? Like, did she survive? Like, did she see World War II? I think she must have seen World War II. Like, she was probably a little girl when that happened, right? So, yeah, like, when it comes to America, I can see that some of the politicians may actually not understand. Give me 1 second. I got the message. I need to respond. All right. Once people only have access to the correct information. Well, if you actually see, I saw a conversation that took place today between, sorry, not today, 3 days ago, between Donald Trump and the UK Prime Minister. And Donald Trump was asked by a reporter, it's like, is Britain going to censor Truth Social, which is Trump's social media? And Trump immediately goes like, nah. They're not going to go after, you know, our social media because I like this guy. Let me see if I can find the actual interview. But Keir Starmer immediately says, like, obviously not, you know, like we're... here we go, right? Keir Starmer says that we're not censoring anyone. So I'm going to play the clip for you.
States mandated
to censor my site?
To censor your site and Twitter
Truth?
and Facebook.
Truth?
I mean Truth. Is that okay?
Well, I don't think he's going to censor my site because I say only good things. Will you please uncensor my site?
Yeah, we're not.
There are new powers here to censor your site. States mandated
To
powers.
censor my site?
To censor your site and
mean
Twitter
Truth?
and Facebook.
Truth?
I mean Truth. Is that okay?
Well, I don't think he's going to censor my site because I say only good things. Will you please uncensor my site?
Yeah, we're not censoring anyone. We've got some measures which are there to protect children, in particular from sites like suicide sites. We've had too many cases in the United Kingdom of young children taking their own lives, and when you look through their social media, they've been accessing sites which talk about suicide and encouraging, if you like, children down that road, and that is what we want to stop. Nothing about censoring free speech.
But that treats all adults like children.
This country is the proud...
But that can treat all adults
free
like
speech
children.
in this country has been for a very long time. We're very, very proud of it. We will protect it forever.
Facebook. I mean, truth. Is that okay?
Well, I don't think he's going to censor my site because I say only good things. Will you please uncensor my site?
Yeah, we're not censoring anyone.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. All right. All right. Now it's working. No, like the main problem is that my microphone is like 4 years old. I keep wanting to buy one, but I'm always covered in debts. Like I need to pay my artists or I need to pay the electrical bill, and I'm like, oh shit. Like I could buy a trash microphone, and I'm thinking that I probably will. But I'll fix it, chat. I'll fix it. No, it's starting to get egregious. And if it's egregious, I guess I need to. All right. But you probably heard like what Starber was saying, right? Now, the interesting thing is that he does not lie. The bill actually does target the stuff that he says. But what he doesn't mention is that the bill targets a lot more stuff that he doesn't talk about. Like, for instance, anti-immigration options, right? So, like, if you go on the internet and you talk against immigration, social media has to flag that. And if someone is underage and haven't proved, they haven't doxed themselves, they can't participate in the conversation. Isn't that fascinating, chat? Now, when Trump says, are you going to censor my side? Well, which side is against immigration, Mr. Keir Starmer? Is it the left? Is it a divisive issue? Is it bipartisan? Is everyone in society wanting mass illegal immigration? Oh, no? Well, which one does it? Oh, the right. Oh, and what happens if the right says that? Oh, they get censored. Oh, I see. Interesting. And yet, when pushed on that, it's like, well, it's about keeping kids safe online. And let's talk a little bit about children, because that's also an interesting fact, right? So, like, you're telling me that a British citizen, well, actually, even a Romanian now, because this bullshit has been expanded to the European Union, right? And we'll talk about that in a bit, why that is. But the Romanian, myself, right? I can't talk and I can't see any conversations about illegal immigration unless I dox myself. So I have to dox myself now to talk about that. In your opinion, there was, 2 days ago, there was a speech in the British Parliament where an elected member of the British Parliament was talking about illegal immigration. They got banned on Twitter, and the only way to hear their speech is to dox yourself. Just fucking dox yourself, you bigot. Right? And so, no, like, Trump is absolutely right. And when the reporter is saying it's like it's adults' responsibility, yes. Right? It's not about the kids. Every adult has to dox themselves now. It's kind of like in the pandemic, right? Like in the pandemic, they forced healthy people to close their businesses, to stay indoors, and to wear a mask. Every single person that was healthy, like I didn't get COVID, I didn't get infected, I didn't spread it to anyone, but like I was forced to be treated as if I'm sick. I was quarantined despite the fact that I wasn't sick. And while with COVID, you may have like the argument, well, we don't know, because like, okay, the incubation period, like what if you are? All right, but like we can't run a society in permanent COVID mentality, where every person is considered to be underage until they prove they're not. It's fucking insane. And again, like this is about pornography, right? Is Wikipedia a porn website? Like, do you guys go on Wikipedia to masturbate? Because apparently now Wikipedia is suing the British government because the British government is categorizing it as a class 1 website, which is like the worst of the worst. It's kind of like Pornhub, right? Very dangerous for children because they may probably go there and learn the fact that the British government was actually against slavery. And the British Empire wasn't that fucking bad. And then they're like getting all these bad ideas in their head. God, it's like... You know what pisses me off the most? If most people on the internet were against this, I would get it. But the reality is, like, wherever you go, there's still people going, like, oh, so why do you want kids to watch porn? And it's like, how can I discuss with this imbecile? Like, he is living proof that the mother of retards is always pregnant, and the father of dumbasses always has a hard-on. Zlixian, thank you for another $2. So you now have to move to the United States. Wish Trump had called Keir Starmer out, like the South African guy. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Trump and the South African guy. The South African guy is running one of the worst nations in Africa. Not in the fact that the nation doesn't have resources, or that the nation doesn't have potential, or that the people of the nation are bad. But the culture and politicians that the nation is producing, compare it with any other South African nation, and I don't think you can find one that's worse. Like, even Zimbabwe used to have, like, their own socialist mental illness, but they got past that. And now you have South Africa, which is a land that if you think Ukraine is a corrupt nation, like, South Africa would be... Sorry, like, Ukraine would be the gold standard on how to run a nation compared to South Africa. Right? And so, yeah, like, if you have that guy next to you in the White House, you can actually tell him to go fuck himself. Because he's part of the corrupt class, right? Like, you don't give a shit. If he comes to you with attitude, it's like, oh, give me 8, give me. It's like, you can tell him to fuck himself in front of the world stage. No problem. Britain, on the other hand, is one of the G7 nations. It has one of the most strong economies in the world so far. Not doing very well. Like, you know, the people themselves are suffering, but hey, you know, line goes up. And not to mention, like, America seems to have, like, similar interests with Britain. They, too, want to censor the internet. They want to pass now the Kids Online Safety Act. Australia wants to pass something similar. European Union wants to pass something similar. This is the future. You know, people didn't want pornography. They didn't want violent video games. And so, we now have this. Not you guys. I know you didn't want to. But, like, go on Twitter and you'll see a lot of people that, well, like Melanie Mack, didn't appreciate the pixelated ass of a female character in a video game. And so, like, how do we fight it? Well, we need strong, robust age verifications like Texas. Rare Texas W. Have you heard that on the internet? I heard it. You know, Rare Tennessee W. People were happy when these laws were normalized. It's like, okay, well, they're normalized, they're normalized. Now it makes sense why the Supreme Court also said that it's fine. Because they knew what's coming. And the Supreme Court just made room for this legislation of separating the internet. Which is what's going to happen. You're going to have a Western internet, right? Like, it's going to be Europe, UK, Australia, and the United States on one side. You're going to have the Asian internet, which is also going to be separated, probably with China, South Korea, and Japan on one separate. And then you're going to have the Russian internet. And it's going to be like these fragmented internets because it's going to be insanely difficult for a social media company to abide by the regulations in the European Union compared to the ones in Japan. Either that or they're just going to force like the most strict measures imaginable on the entire demographic, right? So like the way it's enacted, it's not that it's forced on you, but it's forced on the social media. So like, for instance, if the social media company considers that talks against immigration are bad, it's going to be applied worldwide. Like every single person, even if you're in a country that doesn't consider that, you know, like you're outside of Britain, but you're using Facebook, if Facebook applies that to the entire people, it's going to apply to you as well because it's going to affect their terms of service. Yeah, pretty much like the block wide web. Yeah, it's like a digital iron curtain. And if they block VPNs, right, because like this is what Britain wants to do now, to ban VPNs, make them illegal. I mean, you can still be on the grid, I guess, if you risk yourself, right? But like, you're going to be with very few people. You're going to probably be in a honeypot. And they're going to listen and moderate and tune into every idea and everything that's being said there. So everyone will be using underground VPNs and swapping between different internets. Probably, but like, again, if they make it illegal, right? So like, for instance, Brazil made VPNs illegal. Like when Brazil banned Twitter, they said any person that uses a VPN is going to have to pay in fine $2,000 per day. So like, if they catch you using a VPN one day, $2,000. Next day, $4,000. In Brazil, people aren't that rich. And so, would people use it? Well, some people used it. But like, imagine if you're caught, right? And now you owe the government $100,000. Like, you're never going to pay that. They don't expect that you will pay that. But like, every single day for the rest of your life, whenever you make money, a big percentage of that is going to go to the government. Kind of like child support. And so, like, do you want to risk it? Most people didn't, right? Now, let's assume that you do risk it. Well, what happens is that you're going to be online with a couple of other edgy people. Like, you're not going to actually make a significant movement. You're not actually going to create a new ideology, right? You're going to be on a website with a couple of edgy people like yourself, probably a honeypot. Like, probably the government already is aware of those websites and is listening in. And the moment you start saying shit about immigration or you have like an edgy opinion, they will write it down. And then they can come to your house, give you a knock, and that's it. You know? I don't think it's going to go down as easily. Now, in the far future, probably, you know, like a generation of people living under this shit will wonder, like, why do we have to live like this, though? Right? And they're going to try to overturn the system. Take into account that almost every single government, no matter how authoritarian, needs the consent of at least 30 to 40% of the people. And silence is consent, actually. The left did have a point. Like, if people don't talk about it, and they're fine with it, it goes through. Between this and AI slop, I think the internet is done for. I think the AI slop is actually what's going to save us. Because, like, if the internet is monitored, if everything you do requires you to dox yourself, then the only way out of it is to have an AI that's offline that you can talk to. And you can use the offline AI to feed it information and be like, is the media trying to manipulate me? Why are they saying this? Why are they posting this? What's going on? And the AI will just respond to you, right? And it will be like, this website is trying to manipulate you in such and such and such manner. Trump literally said to the South African leader that if you would have given him a jet like the Arabs did, he would be nicer to him. Yeah, but like, you need to start separating when Trump is talking seriously and when he is taking the piss. Because let's be honest, you know, it's one thing when you get a jet from like the Saudi Arabians where, you know, they're one of the wealthiest nations on earth, and for them a jet is like 5 cents. And America actually has a strategic interest in being allied with them. And it's another thing if South Africa would have given them a jet. Although, you know, like perhaps maybe he wouldn't have humiliated the South African president in front of the whole world. All right, like he could have done that, right? Like, because at the end of the day, the South African president wasn't there to discuss ideology. Like, he was there to discuss trade policy and probably get some free shit. A bribe is still a bribe. I don't think it's really a bribe, though. Because, like, I don't think that the United States, because, like, Trump got that plane, I don't think, like, the United States did something that they wouldn't have done had they not gotten the plane. Right? Like, I don't think, like, the U.S. went to Saudi Arabia in order to cut the deals with them, but then that the plane happened, they were like, you know what, we changed our mind. No, I do think, like, the plane, first of all, like, the Saudi Arabians behave this way towards almost every other nation, right? And the plane isn't donated to Trump himself, it's actually donated to any other U.S. president that's going to come after him. So, no, I wouldn't call it a bribe. The South African president literally has nothing to give us except white farmers. The South African president controls one of the most farmable land in Africa. It is a nation of strategic importance in the trade war that's happening in Africa and the neocolonialism that happens in Africa. The neocolonialism in Africa right now is between France, Turkey, and China. Like, these are the three nations. And Saudi Arabia is invested. And they have, like, various reasons to be there. One of the reasons is obviously cheap labor. Another reason is the fact that you can bypass a lot of environmentalist bullshit and regulations. You also have resources, right? So this is why South Africa is in BRICS, for instance. Like, it's got a lot of economic strategic. Like, at the end of the day, it's a continent, all right? Continents have resources. Now it's 2025. Yes, we say that we don't do empires anymore, and to be fair, we don't like in the old days. But influence, controlling boats, for instance, right? And also resources are still important, just as ever. Nations around the world have legislation for that custom, preventing it from becoming bribes. The person getting it can't keep it. Well, yeah, like Trump can't keep that plane. Like, it's his plane because he's the president right now. But in the future, he's not going to take it home with him, right? Like, he's not going to take it to Mar-a-Lago. I got a document talking about the scam of age verification, right? Let's see what it says. we'll have to implement age verification wherever it is legally mandated. It's not like we have a choice. Legal challenges were our only option, but now even the courts have swept up in the hysteria. The largest established adult sites, such as ours, will be immediately destroyed. Oh, so this is, I think, from one of the major websites that was affected by age verification back in the day when Texas passed this law. And they're basically like, it's their opinion what will happen. We know that only about 10% of the user base will remain after age verification is implemented. And that the 10% who stay are very costly to verify. Right. So I remember like this probably happened last year, right? Like you had U.S. U.S. states passing the same age verification laws. The difference is that the U.S. states actually targeted websites that have more than 3/4 of their content to be porn. And so they weren't like the British website where they're targeting porn everywhere on the internet, like including search engines, including social media, right? Reddit, 4chan, like literally everything. The American states were like, no, only pornographic websites. And so the porn websites, they pulled out of the states. They just like region blocked the states. And immediately the tradcocks were like, see, they actually wanted to peddle their smut to our children. But the websites were always saying, it's like, no, it's not that we want to peddle smut to your kids, dumbass. It's the fact that if we ask for ID, if we ask people to dox themselves to view our websites, no one will do it. And secondly, even if some would do it, it's extremely expensive for us to implement the software required. Now, apparently, the way it looks is that was like a beta test for what's coming now. Because now the United States is trying to push a federal law that's called the Kids Online Safety Act. And that one is actually very similar to what the EU and the UK is doing. So all the tradcocks that were like, oh, rare Texas win, oh, rare other website win, other red state win. This is what was being fine-tuned, right? Like to see how people react, how people bypass the censorship. You know, do they jailbreak the AI? Do they try to use a VPN? Which VPNs they're using? How many percentage of people are using? How many people are complying? Out of the people complying, do they comply by scanning their face or do they provide an ID? That's the fucking purpose, and that's how the government thinks. Many people think, oh, well, the government just passed this law and sure, I'll use a VPN. Ho, ho, ho. It's just like now the government has like probably 100 studies on exactly what you will do and how to fuck with you if you try to do it. So they're basically saying that here are the numbers that this porn website did in order to see what happens when age verification is installed. July the 4th, verification rate, 10.5%, 90% of users gone. July the 3rd, it dropped to 9.7%, 91% of users gone. July the 2nd, verification rate even lower due to technical issues. However, keep in mind that the drop of users may be higher than shown because the ones who simply don't return, they don't know there is an age verification wall and they're not counted. So basically, like, people may access the site not being aware that they require age verification. This will completely destroy competition as our visitors will switch to various other sites. And this is, by the way, true. It's why big tech is supporting it. Like, you're not going to have any alternatives. Like, currently, they're attacking... the fuck is the name of that YouTube competitor? The one with R, I believe. I'll say it when but they're attacking a YouTube competitor. And I think BitChute also had to region block UK. Because, like, you can't afford to install the age verification price. It's too expensive. And so, big tech is going to have hegemony for the next decades due to this. Like, no one can compete with them. The only way that it could happen is if you somehow have, like, a Elon Musk that buys one of the existing platforms that already has the system implemented. Preserving fair competition is one of the obligations of most states, but they simply don't give a fuck about it. Right now, there are almost 3,000 clones of our sites, not owned by us, but designed to look like us in order to steal people's verification. And this is also happening. Like again, the porn site said literally what's happening right now in Britain. There are people claiming that there are websites that look like social media websites, like that look like Facebook, that look like Twitter, designed to make you to age verify so that if you give your ID, they steal the ID. You need to be very careful with that. Like, always make sure on the website that you think you are And if you're willing to verify, never give your ID. Don't dox yourself. Use your face, right? Like, that is a lot more safe than to actually give someone your entire ID. People will massively move VPNs. Some of them are permanently there, but the problem is that VPNs nowadays integrate ad blocking features, effectively ripping off content creators and us. Concretely, VPNs are pushing us even further in the negative. Adult websites are already treated as barely tolerated, second-class entities, and even from the unfair treatment and discrimination has long prevented in banking. For example, digital exclusion through regulation was already a reality for our sites, but age verification will deepen this unequal treatment, pushing them out from the reputational and compliance burdens into the dark web. So it will become impossible for any large free adult platform to exist, and the demand will already be there, which means that people are going to have to go to the dark web to satisfy their desires. A new landscape will emerge, devoid of established safe and large adult sites where legitimate content creators can showcase their work and be rewarded for it. They will be penalized for allowing to side with us. All the years of trust and safety efforts from the largest adult platform, all trashed. Favoring verified channels, no more. Payouts to content owners, gone. Piracy prevention through fingerprinting, gone. Verifying all uploaded content for nothing. Cooperation with authorities, useless with no users left. And so, like, yeah, the government, obviously, you know, they did a beta test back then to see, like, how people will react to this system. As I mentioned before, like, they wanted to see how many people verify their information online, like how many are willing to dox themselves. If yes, how do they bypass it? But the websites themselves did a survey, right? That they wanted to see, like, okay, how many people are still with us? What is the possibility of our industry? Like, where will the industry go from here? And what they said is exactly what's happening in the UK right now. Henry, thank you for being a member for 5 months. I love oligarchic ladder pulling. Well, it is what it is, right? The tallest person in the swimming pool, they want the water to keep rising. A reminder that the United States government actually sued and fired and then imprisoned an NSA personnel for stealing thousands of penis pictures. This is a real thing that happened, Jesus. Well, I mean, we already have, like, the app T leaks, right? Where you have, like, all these women that joined an app in order to gossip about men, and now all those women got doxxed, and their faces all over the internet, and they're upset about it. And it's like, oh, well, we were supposed to share pictures about men we dated. Why are people now sharing pictures of us? And with the online internet bill, I doubt Republican will sign on it. I saw it was a Democrat that introduced it in the Senate. I'm actually curious what will happen because Americans are now seeing what the fuck is going on in Europe, and they may not like it, but these bills are bipartisan, okay? Like, it's not a left-wing or a right-wing thing. Like, if you look at what happened in Britain, the Tories are the ones that made this bill, and the Labour are the ones that brought it through, and now it's also Labour that wants to bring VPNs to a ban. And so I see people, like, talking about it as if it's a party line issue. The answer is, like, no, it's an authoritarian issue, and both left and right are agreeing with it. So unless you can convince right-wing senators that if they don't pass this, they're going to be primaried out of existence, good luck. The main problem is, though, that I think this is of such an importance to the establishment, to the point where, like, it's happening over 3 continents at the same time, and even SCOTUS weighed in on it. And they're like, oh, no, yeah, this is perfectly legit. I unironically believe that it will happen. Like, I think, like, the interests are so great that it's very unlikely for it not to pass. The Dashing Rogue, I, for one, welcome our cyberpunk dystopia. I don't, though. I really hate it. I wanted the internet back. You know, like, I found a really great meme. And I wanna point out to it because I think, like, this would actually summarize exactly what happened. So if you watched Attack on Titan, right, you probably know what this is. But I like to think this is when Eren, you know, like, he finally killed all of the woke Titans. He finally finds freedom and finally his dream to see what's over the horizon, to see what the bright future is about to bring, like what the world outside looks like without the woke. And apparently, this is what it looks like, chat. This is what's coming, right? Like this is the future. Here's the hard question. Who in the UK and the European Union voted for this? Well, in the European Union, like, it's not really a democracy. It's not like your politicians necessarily support it. It's the EU Council, right? Like the bureaucrats that are drafting these legislations. And they consider it a flagship legislation. They're actually very proud of it. It's called the Digital Safety Act. You gotta understand, like, how politics are done in the EU. Like, most people are unaware until they're implemented. Like, most people were unaware of the GDPR protections until they happen. And so, there's no debate, there's no discussion, like, there's no national conversation, like, oh, should we do this, shouldn't we? It's kind of like in America, where you wake up and one day you find out that your nation declared war on someone else. It's kind of like that in Europe, you know? You wake up and you realize that your country fucked the internet. And by that time, it's too difficult to unfuck. Like, I'm not convinced that there are many legislations in the EU that ever got repealed. Like, maybe there are and I've not heard of them, but, like, personally, I don't know. Anyway, right, so, that's the European Union. In Britain, they're extremely happy about it. They call it the flagship legislation, that Britain now has the safest internet in the whole world. And in a way, I get it. You know, like, if I was the British government, I would be happy as well. Why? Well, number one, you get to dictate to the social media companies what they get to ban and not. And you do that without politicians having to. This is the beauty of it, right? Like, they do it with Ofcom. In other words, like, if politicians decry that tomorrow social media is not allowed to show a scandal, or they're not allowed to show something, the politicians can always say, oh, well, we didn't do that. Like, it's not our fault. I mean, what the fuck, you know? It's like, oh, that's very concerning. Yeah, very concerning. And then they do it anyway, right? And take into account something else that's interesting. Social media now gets to decide what is sensitive and what isn't, right? So, like, for instance, as I mentioned before, 4 days ago, there was a discussion in the British Parliament that talked about immigration. And that conversation, if you wanted to see it, you had to dox yourself. So, like, the content is already separated, right? Like, content that you need to dox yourself to see, and content that everyone can see. What if they flip a button, and the content you need to dox yourself to see, you can't see it even if you do dox yourself? Because now everything is built around AI, you know? Like, back in the day, it was harder to actually control what's on the internet. Because, sure, you know, you could use some keywords, or if they tried that, people would use euphemisms. Like, people wouldn't say rape anymore. They would say struggle snuggle. They wouldn't say COVID. They would say the coof, right? So, like, it was very difficult for social media to enforce censorship, like, unless people were speaking very clearly, very openly, you know, using words like terrorism, war, like a list of naughty words. Now it's a lot more difficult to use that system. And so what they're using is they're using AI. And the AI, like ChatGPT, like, if you feed it the text of what you're saying, it absolutely understands what you're saying. And it makes a decision. Like, you should try this. You know, like, take a YouTube video, cut down to its subtitles, give it to ChatGPT, and ask it any question you want. And it will actually answer you. Like, it can do this to an entire live stream. Like, get a Joe Rogan clip for 3 hours, right? And then ask, is Joe Rogan breaking any of the laws from the British Online Safety Act? And ChatGPT, within seconds, within like 5 or 10 seconds, it will go through the document and immediately be like, bam, bam, bam. And that's what they're doing now, right? Like, they're spreading the entire internet based on talking point, based on, like, even the emotion that you have. Like, I've seen the AI that will look at my videos and they will tell me the emotion that I'm saying, exactly at what minutes. Anger, sadness, call to action. And so, like, what they're trying to do is they're trying to create cashless societies. In other words, you're not supposed to go to the bank anymore. Like, everything you do should be online banking. You're dissuaded from going outside anymore because you got, like, Uber Eats that's coming to you and bringing you shit. And so the only place to talk is the internet. And the internet is pretty much like a totalitarian surveillance state, to the point where George R.R. Martin, you know, like he thought about like a semi-totalitarian government that has access to some technology. The reality is like 10 times worse than what George R.R. Martin, than what Orwell ever imagined, right? Like 100 times worse than 1984. Like, at least in 1984, like people didn't want that spyware in their house. Like here, people want to bring the Alexa in. By the way, I saw like some really freaky toys that were basically showing little robots that have AI and a camera. And the toy was like pretty fucking cool, not gonna lie. You know, like when my son is going to be 10-year-old, like he would probably fucking love that. He's not going to get that. Cause like that thing, you know, like it's like a little robot that talks to you. It's got like a little artificial intelligence, and if you put it on a desk, it has a camera and it knows where to stop so it doesn't fall off the desk. It's really cute. Unfortunately, however, it's connected to the cloud. And so everything you have in your house, everything you do, everything there gets uploaded to the cloud. And the thing is, like, this is the future. I am willing to bet that in 5 years from now, we're going to have access to robotics. They're already a thing. You know, kind of like the way AI got invented and everyone was like, wow, this is so fucking cool, right? Like, people couldn't believe the magic of the AI. I think that 5 years from now, people will have robotics. Like you'll actually have a butler in your house. Because I see it in China already. You know, like they have that, and all you need to do is to put them an AI. And you have like a pretty much like functioning tool that can cook for you, you know, bring you your food, that type of stuff. I think every house will have one eventually, you know, like 5 or 10 years from now. But like, what's the downside of it? Well, the downside of it is that if it's connected to the cloud, privacy has been abolished. Like, everything you do in your house will be monitored. Everything you say will be recorded. And depending where you are, you know, like if you're in a European hellhole, they can actually use it against you. You know, there's people in Britain that are arrested for shit that they do on social media, so. Yeah, I understand tech too well to trust it. The only thing that I have is an old printer, and I already have a gun pointed at it just in case it makes a funny noise. No, seriously, like, I definitely think this is it. And why am I saying this? Well, if you think about it, in the United States, I understand you guys are big fans of Ring cameras. Ring cameras aren't really a thing in my country. But, and I think, like, the reason they're not is because it's actually illegal. Politicians didn't want people to spy on them, so, like, they banned them. But in America, like, Ring cameras are everywhere, right? Well, apparently the cops can use the cloud. Like, the cops can actually request for people to be able to see the Ring camera. Sorry, for them to see the Ring camera. So, like, for instance, if there's a crime, you know, like a pickpocketer or a thug or anything, and he runs in a neighborhood, the police can actually use the Ring cameras to triangulate his location. And it's like, okay, well, technically, like, it's your Ring camera, right? You bought it, but the government uses it. Now, imagine you have a Ring camera in your house. You know, and it is there. And it listens to everything you say and everything you do. Starting to hope the end of my life is near. Don't say that. You're the only one giving me super chats, for fuck's sakes. Well, one of the few. I actually have the super chats today from other viewers as well. But I need you. I need your $2. I'm poor. I need to buy a new microphone. Anyway. I'm 100% true. I had police show up at my doorstep to request my Ring cam footage for a crime in the neighborhood. Exactly. Now, let me tell you something else that's funny, and a lot of people don't know. There are many individuals that use ChatGPT as their personal psychologist, right? Now, there is, in certain countries, I'm not sure how it's like in America, but you have like this doctor-patient confidentiality, and it includes psychologists. I think like there's a couple of professions where your confidentiality is included. So priests are one of them. The lawyer profession, like if you have a lawyer, they're also maintaining your confidentiality. Your doctor, and I think your psychologist to an extent, right? Now this isn't absolute. Depends on the profession. Like, obviously, if you go there and you tell them that you committed a crime, you confess to a crime, like, they have to go to the police and talk. But, like, let's say you're talking to your psychologist about your wife. And you're really unhappy with the marriage, or maybe you talk about that you cheated on your wife, whatever, you know, what people do. That psychologist cannot, you know, like, he's not going to testify on the shit that you told him. Because if he does, like, he loses his business. Like, his entire business is about listening to people, right? Now, if you do this with ChatGPT, if you treat ChatGPT as a psychologist, let's say your wife gives you a divorce, right? And she tells the judge that you've been using ChatGPT for the purpose of discussing their marriage. And she wants in the process of discovery to subpoena those logs. If the judge agrees, and I don't see why they wouldn't, they, like, even if you deleted the logs from your computer, they're still stored by OpenAI. And all the judge has to do is like, yeah, I need to see the files. I want to see what the guy talked. And then, like, all of your embarrassment conversation and everything, like you said about your wife, everything that you said there, right? Now imagine the same shit by bringing a webcam into your house. Like, you're having, like, this AI butler that spies on your house 24/7, and then your wife wants to get a divorce, and she says, yeah, well, he's a bad person. It's like, okay, well, what they do is, like, the lawyer will only get the footage that makes you look bad. Like, they're not going to get the footage to provide context, or, right? Like all it takes is, like, when you were angry, you know, like, you got angry for 20 minutes and then you calm down. Like what happened to Steven Crowder, for instance. And it's not even like that. Like, even outside of the courts, like, they can use it in the media. Like, a couple of sound bites can ruin a reputation. They are also told, please stop being polite to ChatGPT. It costs them too much money, yeah. GPT, how do I poison my neighbor's dog without being too obvious? Man, I would hate to see, like, what people talk to ChatGPT, like, unironically. Like, the rule of the internet is that every log that you find about another person is going to look cringe as fuck by default, right? And the way to verify this rule, and I encourage people to do it, right? Like, if you still have a Facebook account, go back to when you were using the account and look how you were talking to women back then, right? Like, seriously, go to your account on Facebook, right? Like, especially if you haven't used it for like 5 or 6 years, and read your own logs. Like, see how you were talking to people back then, and tell me from a scale of 1 to 10 how fucking cringe it was. Now understand that if some of the logs can be taken out of context, like, how would it make you look? Just like normal human flirting, you know? Like, and the reason I also know this is cringe is because there's a show in Romania, it's called The Bride. And it's about people hooking up, right? And they're flirting on national television. It's the most cringe shit that I can hear. And it's like, holy shit, like, it's cringe when they say it. And when you have body language. But if I was to actually watch that in written format with no context, it would be a solid 8, yeah. Almost anything can be taken out of context. Exactly, right? And now you get to dox yourself before talking so that your ID can be placed next to that. I used to joke. I love it, you know? Isn't this like we're at the end of the world? Where everything is destroyed and the apocalypse have happened? And you just sit down, you know, like smoking a cigarette in angst as if it's Pripyat with Chernobyl, and you're just like smoking a cigarette, everything is destroyed, and you have AJ talking to you, and it's like, man, I used to joke. You know, it's like back then we used to say jokes before they banned them. Off topic, rumor has it that Cinder may return. I haven't followed the drama with Cinder, but like, I hear that maybe she got validated or some shit. I mean, to be fair, even if she didn't get validated, even if she actually did everything she did, she can return now because everyone is going to be talking about Vishojo. You know, I think this is it, chat. I think this is what actually happened. You know, like Vishojo, they went to Donald Trump Yeah, I think the CEO from Vishojo went to Donald Trump and said, "Hey, I noticed that you got some issues now with Epstein. Like a lot of people don't believe you, and there's a shitstorm coming your way, and I also have like a lot of problems, like that there's certain ladies that worked for me and I didn't pay them. I stole money from charity and shit. And so here's what I propose. Talk to the British. Like, talk to the British. Tell them to fuck the internet. Just tell them to fuck the internet. And then when the British fuck the internet, people will stop talking about us. And the controversy goes away. My audio was really low for weeks. Is this true? Is it better now? I hope it's better now. Anyway. Cinder is a good girl. You can tell by how she looks. I know she's evil, but have you seen her tits? No, the whole thing is the way she acted. The reason it pisses people off is that everyone knows at the office someone that acts like her. Like, everyone worked at a company, everyone worked someplace, and you know that woman that behaves like her. And the sad thing is that behaving like her actually is what's rewarded in the company. Like, in a corporate environment, behaving like Cinder is literally the way that you're supposed to behave if you want to climb up. If you don't behave like her, if you're actually behaving like mommy and daddy told you, and you're behaving like the boomers behaved back in their generation, you never climbed the ladder. And this is the sad reality. I'm always reading chat. This is the sad reality. This is why people are upset, right? Because the world is unfair. Like, your mommy and daddy didn't teach you to be like Cinder. And they taught you that society punishes people like Cinder and rewards good, honest, hardworking people. Like, if you're honest, if you follow your word, if you never talk shit about other people, if you just mind your own business and do a good job, you're going to be rewarded. And then you go into the corporate environment and you realize that you get bypassed for promotion and Cinder gets promoted. And then you're working really hard and Cinder is riding your ass, spreading gossips and making fun of you, and like, you didn't do anything. Why is she doing that? And once you get fired, you realize why she's doing that, because now her friend took your place. And then she gets promoted further, and you're like, why the fuck is this happening, you know? And the reason is because, well, the system promotes people like Cinder. No one told me this. No one told me this. I just noticed it around by going in different companies, different places, and you see it again and again and again. And then you understand, like, the reason people behave like Cinder is because that behavior is rewarded. So what can you do, you know? Like, sure, you blame Cinder, but, like, she's not the only one, and she's not the problem. Like, there's so many others. It's just, like, people are good at hiding it. I learned since middle school, the only real way to have peace against this type of people is fear. Now that they have no fear, they do what the fuck they want. Yeah, I mean, kind of like the ideologies in the United States, right? Like, if you're woke, you can get away with everything. And then it was like, for a while, if you're a tradcock on Twitter, you can get away with everything. But yeah, like, the whole idea is that there are always, it's not left-wing versus right-wing. It's establishment versus anti-establishment. And so the anti-establishment, the serious ones that want to gain power, they're really obsessed with optics. Like, they just want to make sure that people view them in a favored light, because otherwise they get banned. You know, the establishment just looks for any reason to ban them. So they have to behave in a nice way. But once they do become the establishment, they lose the quality control, right? Because now they're in power. They have no interest in policing themselves. And so they attract the grifters and they attract the unhinged radicals. And then they become the type of people that they were fighting against. And then the rule changes yet again, you know? And that's pretty much how the universe works. My dad succeeded by working hard. And good bosses rewarded hard work. On the other hand, someone who couldn't make it, hard work, all the bosses were the worst. Yeah, something changed between the generations, I do agree. Like, there was one way that the boomer generation was treated. You know, like, you had a stable job and you worked there since you were a teenager all the way until you were old, and the company respected you, and they were looking for married people. Nowadays, they're looking for H-1B visa workers, and they're looking how to fire you. And if you make too much money. They fire you because you make too much cash. Like, this was actually policy at GameSpot. GameStop was like, it's renowned. Even on their Reddit, it was said, like, they would keep store managers for a couple of years before they would fire them. And everyone that became a store manager kind of knew what's up, right? Like, when you were a store manager, they started giving you raise after raise after raise because it was part of the contract. And once you reached a certain number and they were paying you too much, they would fire you so that they hire someone else that was fresh. Even though I hate horror games, I'm going to buy yours to help me. Why, thank you, Jacob. That's really nice of you. I appreciate it. I hope I find a place to sell it, though. Like, so far, everything is good. I don't think my game breaks any of the rules. But if they do, I'll have to find other websites. It is what it is. It's kind of funny, because I made my game as a troll. I was back 2 years ago. We were a different culture back then. And I was complaining that there's just too many body type A, body type B characters in video games, and that they remove all sex appeal. And then it was like the leftists that were, oh, you're a gooner, oh, you just want a goon, you know, make your own video game if you don't like it. And then I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll make my own game. Why the fuck not? I will make my own game. And the reason I made it was to show to other people that instead of bitching and complaining, you can actually do something. And I found some individuals that were in very bad shape, and I hired them. My developer, he got sacked from university because they had diversity quotas, and he wasn't diverse enough. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, he got fired, and immediately they hired, you know. The animator that I have is in Spain under the socialist government. They fucked their business during COVID. He was about to end up on the streets, so I hired him. I helped him. And many such people, right? Like, everyone that I got does really great work. And that's all I care. It's like, what work are you doing? Like, how good you are. And so I got all these individuals, and I'm making my own game. And I'm making my own game, like, sure, you know, like, I got some money from Subscribestar, but it's not enough to cover the costs. Like, most of it I'm paying from my pocket. And I'm trying to do a game that I would personally enjoy playing, and hopefully other people will like playing as well. If it manages to make money, fine. If it doesn't, I'll upload it for free, and that's fucking it. At the end of the day, I just wanted to put a point, you know? And the point is, like, if you want something, be the change you want to be. Don't just brag about it and bitch and complain. Plus, making a video game is actually fun. Right? So, I do believe that the process of like, having a story in your head and seeing it come to life, it's really amazing. So, there's really no reason for anyone in 2025, if they're a content creator or someone that makes some money and just like wants a change, like they want to see good content, there's no reason why you can't crowdfund and make your own. Yes, I'm actually evil because I'm making Gunnar games, right? Now the reason I made the Gunnar game, that's another thing, right? Because like, there was a chance that I could just make a normal stay for work game, but I said, no, I'm going to make a Gunnar game because the left hates it. And I don't see anything wrong with it. It's just fucking cartoons. And the second thing that I did is because it actually had freedom. Like, if you don't make a Gunnar game, you're constantly bombarded by political correctness, and there's a lot of gatekeepers that decide what and how, right? Back then. Now, apparently, it's happening with the adult industry, too. But, like, back then, most of the leftists kept their eyes on the actual indie games, right? Like, you remember the Coffin of Ashley and Lele, how much hate it got because it was successful. And the reason it got that hate was specifically because it was a non-adult game. And so making an adult game, I was hoping that, well, I'm going to get more people be able to do whatever the fuck they want without the scrutiny of, you know, is there hate speech? Is there messages that are politically incorrect and that type of shit? But it is what it is. Christopher Kirig, Ecclesiastics, 8 with 14. In this life, good people are often treated as though they were wicked. And wicked people are often treated as though they were good. I mean, I think like this is so ingrained in humanity that it's not just Christianity that has a quote like this. I think every religion has something like this. I think even the ancient Greeks came up to this conclusion. Because, yeah, like it's manifest observable behavior. I think, you know, it's not about good and bad. It's about getting laid. I know this sounds like really shallow, but if you think about it, you know, the purpose of life is to reproduce. Attack on Titan had this message, which is actually from Eastern wisdom. But like everything that people do is for the sake of reproducing. And what you notice is that being a good person doesn't necessarily mean that women will like you. Right? Like if you're a bad woman, if you sleep around and that doesn't necessarily mean you won't find a guy. And if you're a guy that's an asshole and a wife beater and a drug dealer, that's not necessarily doesn't mean that you won't find a woman. In fact, what actually happens is that people that, you know, they're studying hard and they get a PhD and what, I know a lot of them that are single, but I don't know of a single person that I grew up with when, you know, I grew up in a very dangerous neighborhood with people from all walks of life. I don't know a single one of them that doesn't have at least 2 girlfriends. And they were gang members and bad people, right? And so this is why people behave in a way. Like men behave in the way that women want, right? Like women are attracted to a certain type of man, and men try to win the approval of women. Not necessarily like a woman, but like they want to be liked by women, right? Like no one wants to be viewed as a pervert. Why? Because women hate that. No one wants to be viewed as soy. Why? Because women hate that, right? So like you want to be the Chad. Like everyone wants to be like the Chad. And it's the same for women, right? Like women want to behave in a way that the Chad likes. Not all men. Like women only care about the Chad, the 5%. So they're looking at what the 5% of the men are interested in. And that's how women behave. And if the 5% of men are interested is crazy women, like for some fucking reason, like craziness is actually appealing, right? And women that act like a bimbo, well, that's how they're going to behave. Literally, the only reason to go to university is to get a skill value. No, there's no reason to go to university. Well, actually, no. There are 2 reasons to go to universities, but now they're becoming obsolete as well. The first reason would be networking, right? So, like, finding out a person that will give you a job. And the second reason is if you go to med school or law school, like something that you actually need a degree in order to practice. Other than that, there's no reason to go to medicine. There's no reason to go to university. Recent studies are actually showing that men who go to universities have exactly the same unemployment rates as people who don't go to universities. And in fact, being a plumber is actually a better job now because you can find work literally anywhere on earth as a plumber than if you're a university graduate. Anyway, right. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. I'm going to upload the videos on my other channels now. Apparently, Britain has responded to the petition, so I'm going to cover that.